Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Eastern Kentucky unexpectedly lost one of its high school basketball coaching legends yesterday. And the WYMT Food City Mountain Basketball Classic is underway in Knott County.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Olivia Calfee. We are coming up on 5 a.m. on December 5th. Now let's check in with Chief Forecaster Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning. And Brandon, I know you mentioned at some point this week it was going to start getting colder. So when can we expect that cold front to move on in?
Tonight. We're going to be seeing that as early as tonight. So be ready for that. And the flakes will likely fly as we head into the overnight hours. So be ready for that too. Let's take a look and see what's going on out there this morning. A few clouds out there across parts of the region. We're still seeing a few clear skies now. Some surprising weather yesterday. We had some grapple, we had some thunder. I mean, it was just kind of a mess yesterday, but I think we're just going to see the more consistent rain a little bit later on today. And we're also dealing with some fog. Now, places like Lexington and Moorhead and Jackson and over towards Somerset, which we'll show you that camera here in just a second, downtown Somerset, pretty fogged in. Actually, it's backed off a little bit, but Moorhead is pretty foggy this morning. You can see it in the distance there at the London Corbin Airport, and you can also see a little bit on Buffalo Mountain as we start the day off. Now, temperatures, you can tell where the clouds are and the clouds are not. 38 Prestonsburg, Pikeville, 39 Clintwood, 40 Grundy, and 44 in Harlan, but 31 Irvin, 32 Moorhead, 36 Somerset, and Hazard as well. So we're just going to continue to watch that. Clouds back and forth today, partly to mostly cloudy skies. I think it'll be mostly cloudy skies as we head deeper in the day, but temperatures are not going to get as warm, only about 47 for a daytime high. We'll talk about the extended forecast and the possibility for those flakes coming up here in just a few minutes. Olivia.
All right, thank you, Brandon. Harlan County native and Kentucky's winningest high school basketball coach Billy Hicks died unexpectedly at the age of 71. Hicks' coaching career spans more than 3 decades across the state. WYMT's RJ Johnson spoke to some coaches on how his legacy will continue to live on.
In 1978, Billy Hicks began his career coaching at Everett High School, and in 1983, he became the head coach at Harlan High School.
I got hired here as a teacher in the 83-84 school year, and he had just become the head coach. And so I was his freshman coach the 3 years that he was here at Harlan before he went on to go to Corbin.
After Hicks left, Kevin Ball was named head coach at Harlan. Ball says he learned a lot from Hicks before replacing him.
Obviously, that was big shoes to fill, but you know, I felt like that he was the only coach that I'd ever worked under, so a lot of the stuff I did my first year here and all my years coaching here, I'd really gotten from him.
Hicks even influenced his own nephew, current Johnson Central girls basketball coach Jim Hicks.
You know, growing up, you know, watching him coach, that inspired me, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do, and I was so fortunate to be able to work under him at Scott County and learn under him. You know, he's the best. He's the best I've ever been around.
For as great of a basketball coach Billy was on the court, Jim says he was an even better person off of it.
He's one of the most humble people I've ever been around. You can be around him and never know that he was a basketball coach. You never know that he's the winningest coach of all time in Kentucky. Because he would never bring it up.
Instead, he would focus on things like his family, cooking, and fishing.
He was more than an uncle. Billy was like a dad to me. He was my best friend. We talked on the phone every day.
Even though Billy went on to coach for Scott County for 25 years, Jim says his uncle never forgot his roots.
Billy's a true Eastern Kentucky mountain guy. You know, the mountains mean so much to Billy. You know, I mean, his home was in Georgetown and he resides in Georgetown, but you know, Eastern Kentucky, you know, Harlan County, Corbin, was always going to be special to him.
With this loss, Jim says seeing all of the heartfelt messages online shows the legacy he leaves behind across the Commonwealth. In Harlan County, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Jim says he cannot even guess of the amount of people Billy has touched on and off the court. Drivers using Kentucky 1384 at Hurricane Creek in Pike County will need to detour around a railroad crossing starting today. Officials at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet say the road will be closed the next 2 mornings so repairs can be made at the CSX railroad crossing. This is 2/10 of a mile east of US 23. Transportation officials say the closing should take no longer than a day or 2. Knott County Central High School is once again hosting the WYMT Food City Mountain Basketball Classic Tournament, but it's the first one on this court. The school's basketball teams have been playing in the same gym for several decades, but not the same floor. Their old court was heavily damaged by the July 2022 flood, and a new floor was unveiled about this time last year. Principal Bobby Pollard says they have worked hard to get things ready.
One of the things that we prioritized was making sure that we had our facility back so that we could have our student athletes and our community come together in this facility.
Knott County Central still has the logo from their old court hanging on the wall behind many banners from past success. Administrators say they take pride in the facility. And that new court also has a new name. In between the first 2 games of last night's WYMT Food City Mountain Classic, family and friends were on hand for the unveiling of former coach B.B. King's name on the B.B. King Court. King died last December 20th at the age of 61. He actually coached his final game with Breathitt County at the Mountain Classic just weeks before his death. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we return, we take a look at the air traffic controller shortage and how it could affect your next flight.
And the forecast brings that cold air in as early as tonight, and it's going to be a chilly overnight too. We'll break it down for you in about 3 minutes.